pieces, even though he did exactly what he was told. So this one is probably the toughest one to beat. And while I do have 2 things you can try, there's nothing to guarantee your way out of a rigged trap. But one advantage is that he can move his hands far enough to reach the other arm. He can undo the cuffs by the wrist, as they appear to be locked by a fairly simple mechanism similar to a belt. Seth has no problem putting both of his hands to his neck, indicating that the chains are just long enough for him to touch the cuffs. The buckles are also on the inside of his arms, which makes it even easier to reach. But if you manage to undo the cuffs, you'll still need to get rid of the neck part. This is where it gets a little tricky, because in the beginning it looks like it's locked by this small screw which you can try to undo. But that thing disappears halfway through the trap, so the neck shackles are held together by these 2 motors pushing it closed. What Seth can try, and again it's not guaranteed to work, but what he can try is ripping out the cables to the motors so they can't push the lock closed. Then he can pull apart the neck shackles. If he manages to do all of that, he can bend forward and undo his leg chains and get off the table. By the way, all the other traps from here on are simpler and have a much more straightforward solution. After that, we cut to Agent Peter Strom as he walks into the last room from the meatpacking plant from Saw 3. This is where Jeff killed John. We pick up right where Saw 4 left off. Hoffman closes the door to the room and Strom is locked inside. He then finds a hidden door in the wall and goes through it. Strom finds himself in a dark corridor where he eventually gets attacked and sedated. A short while later, he wakes up with his head in a glass box. He sees that there are 2 tubes on the inside which come from big water canisters on the ceiling. He tries to hit the glass and pry open the corners, but nothing seems to work. Then the water from above starts filling into the box. He panics and tries to force his head out, but the opening is too small. Then Strom makes a truly incredible move. He takes out a pen from his pocket and produces a tracheotomy on himself, meaning that it puts a hole in his own throat so that he can breathe through the pen. Even though Strom has a great method to survive, there are a few simpler solutions. For example, he can cut the thin rubber seal around his neck using the pen's sharp end to scratch it open. That way the water would flow out of the box very quickly and he can breathe again. Strom can also use the pen as a straw to breathe. He would have to shove it through the rubber part at the bottom, and then he has an infinite supply of air without hurting himself. There's another gap in between the seal and the neck, which can be best seen in the behind the scenes. There, water is constantly flowing out of the box. That's also why there are 2 containers with much more water.
We're in this together. Remember that.
You and me, friend. This sounds like it'll be fun. Hold your breath. If you have a respiratory system, something to check out, they're there.
We got some extra supplies. Good. Jump in out.
Shotgun bolt here. Level 2.
Shotgun ammo.
Shotgun ammo here. Get ready.
Level 2.
Enemies over there. I'm going to attack. Using grapple. Contact.
Thermite grenade out.
Rest.
I'm down.
I am taking fire, friends. I am down.
Is required to fill the cube. It's to keep enough water flowing into the tank until he would suffocate. The final thing he can try is reaching up and bending the plastic tubes, which would stop the water flow. But he'd have to hold it shut until help arrives, which isn't ideal. Outside the building, Hoffman walks out alive and makes himself look like the hero. He says that he tried to help, but no one else figured out. Then, to everyone's surprise, Strom is carried out alive, and he's the only one who sees Hoffman as a suspect. Then we get to Hoffman's newest game, the trial of the Fatal Five. A group of 5 kidnapped people wake up in a room and try to figure out what's going on. They all have a collar around their neck that's connected to a cable that goes into the wall. The long cable runs through. So one person moves forward while the others are pulled back. And at about eye level behind them is a big V-shaped blade. Suddenly the TV turns on and Jigsaw explains what will happen. When the game begins, they have 60 seconds to unlock their collar. When the time runs out, the cable will be pulled into the wall and they will be decapitated by the big blade behind them. To escape, they need to get the key to their collars from the glass box is about 20 feet in front of them. As the clock starts ticking, one of the guys, Charles, pulls on the wire and forces his way to the front. Since the wire has a limited length, only one person can go at a time, while the others are held back and get choked. Charles goes to the front, shatters the glass box, and gets his key. They all go after one another to unlock their collars, but when the 60 seconds run out, one of the women doesn't have her key yet. The timer hits 0 and she's pulled back by the wire and gets her head cut off by the blade. The door to the next room opens up and they leave. What they can do here is that one guy goes forward and smashes the first 3 boxes. Then that person can take out 3 keys at once and throw them to the others. That way only 2 people...
Get ready. Moving up.
go forward and everyone can free themselves as they have a lot more time. And even though the people here are pretty selfish and think that somebody has to die, there's really no downside to giving somebody else their key. You can unlock yours first and then give someone else theirs. However, they choose to work individually, but there's still something they can do to get everyone out. When somebody gets their key from the front, they should quickly back up against the wall so that someone else can go forward. Most of the characters here linger at the front, but there's no point in staying by the boxes as you already have the key and other people will try to pull you away. So quickly moving away from the boxes allows everyone to go forward without forcefully fighting each other. But the fastest way to get out of here would be that only one person goes to the front, gets their key and unlocks their collar. Then that person can move around the room freely and smash all the boxes and give everyone their key. The reason they don't do this is because they're all fighting to be in the front, meaning that they're constantly wrestling with the wire, so it takes them much longer to unlock their collar. But what if they tried all these solutions and somebody still doesn't get their key in time? Well, in that case, there's still a last resort. You can climb on the big blade behind you. Then once the wire pulls you in, your head won't be cut off. You'll still be strangled, but you won't instantly die. The others could then help you by getting the last key and unlocking your collar. This would have worked with a woman who died because she knew in advance that she didn't have enough time. So instead of giving up or trying to go forwards, she can back up towards the wall and jump onto the blade and let the other people free her. Of course, it's revealed later on that all the keys are the same, so they can share one and pass it down. But unless you know that in advance, there's no way any reasonable person could come to that conclusion. But you know what's a lot less scary than being in the necktie trap? That's right, NordVPN. They're the sponsor for this video and I've been using their service for about a year now. They allow you to really take control of your internet experience by adding layers of security and privacy. So for example, I recently wanted to watch Evil Dead on Netflix, but as it turns out, it's not available in my location. Well, one of the many things Nord can do is change the location of your IP address by letting you connect to different VPN servers around the world. So now all I need to do is open Nord, connect to a country that has the movie I want, and then get every Netflix movie show. But much more importantly, Nord keeps you safe when you're browsing the internet. Let's say you're using a public network at a coffee shop. Well, it's pretty easy and common for hackers to view people's internet traffic and steal passwords or even credit card information. But with Nord, all you have to do is simply connect to any of their VPN servers, which adds military-grade encryption to your connection. That way all of your information is protected. And for a limited time, they have a Black Friday deal where you'll get 60% off on their 2-year plan with an additional 4 months for free if you go to nordvpn.com/hitstar or enter code HITSTAR at checkout. I highly recommend it because unlike most other VPNs, Nord has extremely fast servers, perfect for streaming, and they have a 30-day
New kill leader, Azalfor. Contact.
Got an shield here. Level 2.
Not lost. Recharging my shield. Just 1 second. Listen up, I'm attacking over there. Listen up, the ring is closing in 1 minute.
Far ring, 45 left.
Contact the target. Just us. We got to watch each other's back.
Healing. Watch my back.
Taking fire. Recharging my shield. Champion out. Just give my shield a recharge.
Będę maszyn.